Alright, so the last few comic reviews, with a few added, but you saw those already. There is one that I did not review, and that's because I just couldn't finish it in time. I'm just gonna push that. I didn't turn that. The book, it's one of the mangas. Can't think of the name of it. I keep on calling it Vinland Saga, but it's not. It's actually the first book we're talking about. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Just one of those books I thought I was gonna finish, and I was like, wait a minute, there's a few too many pages for it to be over in 3 chapters. And sure enough, there was another whole book. They collect 3 books in one. It's like with Berserk, so they have it split up into three separate categories. So a table of contents is within those three parts. It's not all at the first page. It's like part one, here's table of contents. Part two, here's table of content for this arc, and so on and so forth. The third, and beyond. I think maybe one of them collected 4. I think it's usually 3 with those mangas, those deluxe editions. And actually, Neon Genesis is a soft cover. Only a little bit bigger, I would say, than your average manga, like length and width wise. Obviously, like height and width, like how, like height and width wise. But I don't think it's obviously thicker. But anyways, let's go on to Vinland Saga, and I like this series. I think this is going to be the manga that keeps me reading manga, because the next one, next one's I already, I did return Berserk, so I need to remember to talk about it. But the next manga you'll be seeing is one that kind of is turning me off of manga a little bit, which is insane to think about because it used to be my favorite manga, but I think it's just one of those things. I don't know what it is about manga. It's like the further and further I get into volumes, like volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, the less invested in the story I get, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like, I don't know if it's the pacing is off or something is off. I don't know what it is, but it just kind of feels like it's like just a drag, honestly. Not a drag like it's slow, but a drag like it's kind of doing the same things over and over and over. Kind of, sort of. Like it's not like Batman, where one issue it'll be him and Catwoman fighting the Joker, and then the next it'll be like a one-shot story about Robin. Manga just kind of seems, and I know it's going off story arcs, and so does every other comic in the world for the most part, like a mainstream comic, but I don't know what it is about manga. Like I can't even figure it out myself. What it is about manga kind of just alienates me, and what draws me to regular comics. Like regular comics, like I don't have to read Marvel and DC. You should see that shelf over there is all Image Comics, and almost the other shelf. It's just 2 shelves. It's like it's an L shape, and the one part is all Image, and the other part is almost all Image. And I really do like indies. My top 5 are not, none of them are Batman or Spider-Man or X-Men. They are creator-owned titles. Now Preacher shouldn't count, I know, but I'm gonna count it. Like it's, so I'll go over again. It's Preacher, Sin City, Wicked and Divine, Walking Dead. Walking Dead before Wicked and Divine. So Preacher, Sin City, Walking Dead, Wicked and Divine, and the 5th one, I don't know why I can't think of it right now. It's not. I guess I said Transmetropolitan, but all 5 of those, none of them are arcs from Batman, Spider-Man, X-Men, or even Deadpool. They are all creator-owned titles, and that's how I am. I like those kinds of books. Those kinds of books are the ones that I probably will remember the most out of anything else. And of course, I still read Batman, Spider-Man, Deadpool, and X-Men, but honestly, X-Men not as often as the others. And I probably I just be so basic, like, oh, what's your favorite Batman? Maybe Hush, I guess. I don't know. What's your favorite Spider-Man? Kraven's Last Hunt. Because it's been that way. And those first 2, it's been that way for a long ass time. What's your favorite Deadpool? I like Dina Way's run, actually. The first, what I've read so far, at least. What's your favorite X-Men book? Astonishing X-Men, I guess. But later arcs, because the first arc kind of was good, but well, the first arc I really liked, but then it was kind of, it hit a bit of a slog, but still I like it, overall. It's kind of throw out, and then what's your favorite Image book? Oh, we got Looking Divine. No, we got Wayward. We got Bitter Root, and we got the Walking Dead, and we got just go on and on and on. Especially if you had a list of the top selling Image books, or just you went through my because most of my own now, except for Walking Dead, I would say I have all my favorite Image books collected in collected edition. Sure, and who cares the library has it or not? Because I want to own it in my personal collection. But manga, I will never own a manga. Not even Vinland Saga. Not even those deluxe editions, Vinland Saga, I will never own in my PC. Just can't justify it whatsoever. Again, I don't know what it is. And no, I'm not racist. But Vinland Saga, again, like I said, it will be the manga that keeps me reading manga. I will probably, honestly, eventually, I will probably just have Vinland Saga and Berserk back to back. Berserk, I'll do a quick review. I don't have it with me because I had to return it. It was like overdue. I had to, actually, I kind of almost begged them to have it get renewed again. And it was actually very easy for the librarian to do it because it was supposed to be twice. It could have been twice, but it was a little glitch on the system. Actually, it was a glitch on the system for it to be renewed. And it was like, well, I can do it twice. Technically, it says, but she couldn't do that again. So I had to read like a whole entire third part all in one sitting, basically. But I didn't mind doing that completely, because Vinland Saga and Berserk, like I said, will be the mangas that keep me reading mangas. Like they'll probably all that I read from manga. And if I'll probably like check out Plantes, because this is the guy who wrote Plantes. I checked it out a long time ago and I didn't really like it, but I think I need to give it a second chance. So that's probably what I'll do. I'll check out. What's that? It's not Trigun. Blade of the Immortal. I think that's technically a... Which makes sense the more I think about it. It's a spin-off to Berserk, I believe. So I'll probably check that one out. That's probably what I'll do. I'll say, hey, what mangas are like Vinland Saga? I'll check out those mangas. There's one more manga. It's the same person who recommended me Heartstopper, also recommended me a manga called Promised Neverland. So honestly, what I'll probably do is I will replace Promised Neverland replace Alita Battle Angel with Promised Neverland. And even then, I'll probably just read the first arc of Promised Neverland and see how I like it. If I don't like it, then I'll put it away. If I like it, I'll keep going. But Alita Battle Angel, I don't know what it is. I think it's just because the pacing is more story-based than anything. I like that, but it's just kind of like it's off. Like sometimes it'll be really fast-paced and it'll be slower-paced, and it's like it just almost seems like there's no real point for it to be slower-paced. I still like it enough, I guess, but I'm taking a break from it. I'm not gonna give it 8. I guess I'd say 9 out of 10 for both Vinland Saga and Berserk, and 7 out of 10 for Alita. Again, manga, like even the manga that I like, I'm not like super invested into it. Again, Vinland Saga and Berserk, I am at times, especially when I started out, but now I'm kind of like, I could take a break from these books from manga for a month, and I would not mind one bit. Moving on to Captain America and the Mighty Avengers Last Days, and like with Volume 1, I don't think I like Al Ewing's writing. It led me to have an epiphany that other than we only find them when they're dead, which that's a cheat, that shouldn't count, because it's the way the pacing is. Just the pacing is so good and the artwork is so good, you kind of don't care that you don't know what's going on in the story. And like it's like with another book that I'll soon be reviewing here, where the artwork is so good that it keeps you invested in the story and in dialogue and everything else somehow. And it's not just like if any other artist, you probably wouldn't like it as much. So that's kind of a cheat to say that. The other book I'll be talking about, where it's the same thing there, it's just a book I like. It's a genre I like. So, and I understand more about that series. I did about We Only Find Them When They're Dead. But you'll see what I mean. But yeah, I think I like Al Ewing's writing. I like his Immortal Hulk, but that's kind of a cheat too. That's just magnum opus. That's like saying, yeah, I like Warren Ellis, I like Transmetropolitan. Yeah, everyone likes that. Or I like Garth Ennis, I like Preacher. Like, so did everyone else. But I don't like Al Ewing's writing. I didn't like this. I didn't like his Ultimates run, and I don't think I've read a whole lot by him. I like his Rocket, so that's not a cheat at all. It's a legitimate excuse. It's a legitimate argument in my case, or in the case of you like Al Ewing's writing. But this was just a slog. And it's also, I don't tell you, but it's a sequel to his Mighty Avengers run. And honestly, the first arc was kind of confusing, but it was also because it was tying into one I actually do want to read is written by Rick Remender, Axis. Black Panther, Reign of Dusk, like a Volume 1. This was very forgettable. Kind of interesting, I guess, but very forgettable. What If Venom? This was really good. I loved this one. I lost a train of thought here because I was like, wait, wasn't there any hardcovers from Marvel that I read? But no, this is the last of the Marvel books. And I was like, why have you at this? And I was just like confused there for a sec. But yeah, this was pretty damn good. This, it's a good example of, if I spent money on this, I probably wouldn't be speaking so highly about it than if I would, because I got it for free thanks to my local library. I would say each issue in this 5-issue miniseries should be in your local comic shop's dollar bin, and I would say definitely pick it up then. Honestly, yeah, $17.99 is a lot for a 5-issue miniseries. It should be $15.99. I feel like Marvel was pretty consistent about that. 6 issues, yes, it was $17.99, but yeah, not for a 5-issue miniseries. But I would say it's on sale. I don't think it's on sale. If they have a digital sale on it, they actually it didn't recently, I don't think. But sometimes Marvel will be like recent releases, cheap, on sale, and they'll be like $2.99 for this, and I'd say it then. But honestly, I'm really tempted to say buy it at full price, buy it now, so we can get more What If 5-issue miniseries. Because we had Spider Shadow, that was amazing. It was actually really good. It's worth every penny. I would say even get it in deluxe edition. They have it. Then we had the Miles Morales one, which they had the Miles Morales one, which was atrocious. And apparently there's a What If Dark. I don't know what that's all about. And it all started with those one-shots, which I would love. Almost every one-shot in that What If with Great Power trade, I would love to see as their own mini-series. Because I would say, like, their own series, like, anything more than 10 issues would be way too long. And way too, like, stretched out. But I'd say 5 issues would be the perfect thing. Let's go 6 issues. 6 issues for just about every book in there would be great. Except for the X-Men one, written by Brian Hill. I thought that one was weird. But yes, this is another great addition to the What If 5-issue miniseries books. But my one complaint is that I liked how it was a continuing arc, but I felt like it was a bit of false advertising sometimes. We didn't get to the meat of the story until like almost 3/4 of the way through. Saying halfway in is kind of a cheat. And remember that each issue is maybe 32 pages at most. So I kind of like, I think this should have been 8 issues long. But not because it was too fast paced or too, it was like, it felt it was too fast to get to the, not fast paced, what do they call it? Too rushed. It didn't feel rushed at all. It kind of felt like that would have made it a bit better with those. Like, what if Moon Knight had become Venom parts 1 and 2, which I technically do. But I'm saying too much. Let's move on. But I still like it. I still think it's good. It's some of these books I don't have a lot to say other than I do recommend them. They're really good. They're pretty damn good. So like Venom, I would give. I'll go the out of 10 reviews after. Like I'll go through them again. Go 8 out of 10, 9 like I always do. All right, Black. Now this one was somewhat investing, I guess maybe, but also it was one of those books that it's exactly what you think when you're going to get into something like this. When you read the back of it, it's every white man bad kind of book, and it's not just me saying that. It's actually just some guy who was black himself saying the exact same thing. Just watch his video on it. I do actually recommend it. I actually will, and then I finish this book, I will go check those reviews out. I checked out the first part of it, and then I realized, oh, he's talking about more than issue 1, so I'm going to move on and actually finish issue 1 on my end, or get on to issue 2. But it's also kind of forgettable. Like, I could not tell you what happens in each issue other than, oh yeah, this kind of is right here. Like issue 1, oh yeah, this happens. Like, yeah, okay. What happens after what happens after issue 1, after that in issue 1. I'm like, oh, and this happens. Like, I give you like a very brief plot synopsis for each issue. But probably as each issue went along, tell you less and less. It's pretty good. I'm glad I only paid $4 for it. I was trying to see because my local comic shop, they'll have this on it, and it'll be like $3.99. I'll tear it off. $5.99. I was trying to see that. There's apparently another one. There's another one. So it kept going down in price. I kept being like, okay, we can't sell this book. Let's make it go $5.99. Okay, it's still not selling. $3.99, and I picked it up. I knew what I was getting into though. I knew this was one of those books, so I was mostly entertained. However, it is very overwritten sometimes. Not too much, not too bad. It's just kind of like you don't have to have that much dialogue or that many word balloons, but still investing enough. I would say if you are like me and you like reading really good comics along with really bad comics like this one, check this one out. It's almost so bad it's good. It's so bad it's an investment. Not as so bad as Man-Eaters, but close to it. And Man-Eaters is like another Image book that I own. And that I loved. I need to do that. I need to get on that this year. I'm getting on. It's probably, you know what? We'll do it for the month of. We could do it in February. We could do it next month. Maybe. Not exactly. Don't quote me on that. I'll go over. I'll get do an in-depth review of each volume. Each issue kind of seems like it's too much, but each volume will do. And I'll probably be skipping the issues like issue 4. That's just all like their little advertisements and articles and junk like that. I might check it out though this time around. All right. Anyways, moving on. Kanto. If I Only Had a Heart. Now this one was pretty interesting. It's not groundbreaking, but it's not trying to be. It's just trying to be entertaining and fun, and it is. And it has almost perfect pacing too. I honestly would say perfect pacing. Yeah, no, it has perfect pacing. I was never bored reading this book. I was never counting how many pages we had left. Issue 1 that was only because it was a little bit longer than your average issue is. A little bit, like tad bit. Like how Vertigo was 26 pages and regular DC Comics were like 23 pages. You just felt those extra 3 pages, or I felt those extra 3 or 4 pages the first time I read, when I read issue 1. And it is a bit thicker, so I knew it would be a little bit longer for each issue. There's 6 issues in here with only a little bit of back matter at the end. But this is definitely a recommend. And David M. Booher is pretty damn underrated, a pretty damn underrated writer. Now, this book is probably going to get me a lot of hate. I did allude to it. I did say, well, that could change. My most recent read through, because I have not read Deadpool by Daniel Way in a very long time. Now, I alluded to it at the beginning of the video. I like this run. This might be one of my favorite Deadpool runs of all time, if not my favorite so far. Again, when I read it, I read the first 2, and I think part of the third or part of the second one. I want to say though, I want to say with almost complete confidence that I read all of the first 2 complete collections and part of the third one. Almost confident in saying that. But this is just, I really like this run. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's not trying to be too funny. I think people that say, oh, it was meme humor and 2000s humor and they relied on a bunch of stupid humor, and it's like, yeah, but it wasn't trying. It wasn't like Ryan North, where he shoves a joke down your throat. It's not like Ryan North. It is earnest, it's like, hey, here's a joke, okay, moving on. Ryan North, first of all, would have a joke, I want to say twice in 1 page, and then on because he loves to do, this is a bad example because the margins aren't that thick, but in the bottom margins, right here, he would have his own little editorial jokes, and they were all awful. That was Squirrel Girl, and because of Squirrel Girl, I don't trust Ryan North at all. I do want to check out his Fantastic Four, and I do want to check out his Slaughterhouse 5 book, but I'm not exactly eager, I'm not tempted to check it out right now, right this second. I'm I'll wait till next time when I get on those sense of books. But here, again, the jokes, they're not, I wasn't laughing at any jokes. I don't think I laughed at a single joke here, sure. But I don't usually laugh at jokes in Deadpool comics. Movies, it's different, but comics. I don't know what it is, but I could not tell you the funniest comic in my opinion. I could not tell you that. But it's entertaining and it's fun, and I like the story arcs. And there wasn't a single. I was not bored at all reading this. Perfect pacing too, especially with the Wolverine origin 5-issue arc. I would say I still like it as much as I did the first time I read it. Not more, just as much. Spirit World. This was okay. The portrayal of John Constantine is not how I've ever seen him being portrayed. I feel like they need to give him a bit of a harder edge. And this is when I will say that I understand why a co-author is needed in comics. Because we needed Simon Spurrier to co-author this and write in his version of Hellblazer and write Hellblazer's dialogue to help out Alyssa Wong. And Alyssa Wong can do everything else, but we really needed a Simon Spurrier. And I say Simon Spurrier because I don't think they could get Garth Ennis. And Simon Spurrier, to be fair, I am a very harsh critic of his work, but I absolutely loved his Hellblazer. So much so to where I almost want to say that so far, I think it is my favorite Hellblazer comic. And that is also a reminder, I've also read Garth Ennis' run. So that's saying a lot. That I think that Simon Spurrier's Hellblazer is my favorite Hellblazer arc. Because I'm taking Garth Ennis' run that I've read all of, except for those he came back for issues like 120 to 125. I didn't read those. Local library did not have those, but I've read like the majority of his arc, like what people would consider to be his run on Hellblazer. I've read all of that, and I still consider the Simon Spurrier to maybe possibly be my favorite Hellblazer. Like I don't like when they constantly make sequels and sequels and sequels to Batman White Knight is a good example of a book that I'm kind of like, my god, another Batman White Knight. But I'm glad we're getting another Simon Spurrier Hellblazer. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, he only wanted to do 2 arcs, like the first 12 issue miniseries, and however many issues the Dead in America will be. I think 10, maybe 12, I don't know. So that's good to know. But I don't think that's the case. I don't have any I don't have any sources I can go to. I just vaguely remember hearing that. So I know it got canceled prematurely with that first 12 issue arc. That I know for a fact. But yeah, Spirit World, not a great portrayal of John Constantine, but other than that, it's just okay. Kind of forgettable. Not really. It's kind of entertaining. I do like the artwork. I think the artwork is the best, but it's not bad. You know, when I say something is okay, I don't mean it's bad. It's passable. It's a 6 out of 10. Bodies. Liked this one a lot more than I did the first time. I think that's because of expectations. But I wouldn't say I really had any going in. I guess I did not expect this to be as confusing and as all over the place as this comic is. And I kind of understood a little bit more what was going on, but that's the best part about books like this, is that with each reread, I know for a fact that I will understand more and more and pick up more and more details for this book. And I don't mind doing that whatsoever. It is a solid book. I recommend. But I guess 7.5 out of 10. Nothing higher than that. Green Arrow by Kevin Smith. Now this one, when it started out, I almost just dropped it. I was almost like, you know what? I have to read 15 issues of this? Hell no. I'm going to drop it like a sack of potatoes. But then it got going good. And it got going getting really good. And then super good. So much to the point where this became my pick of the week. Now, pick of the week is going to be a little bit complicated because we also do we consider Venom and Kanto to be those? No, that's not. For pick of the week, I would say Kanto for that kind of brief hold me over kind of thing, because those books came in. So those both Venom and Kanto were ones that my local library, local library had as part of their materials request. And for those come in whenever they come in. You can't say, they won't say, oh, March, oh, April. They'll say, whenever we're done with them. So I never can plan for when those come in. I would have been nice if they had come in when I was at the pile I was at before this one, where it was Final Crisis and those ones. But it didn't. And I'm fine with that. It's like, whatever. It came when it came in. Actually, I came in on a pretty good time. Like I said, I had 2 open slots, coincidentally enough, and put those 2 in. Put those 2 in as the 2 open slots. Did not have to sacrifice too much. Anyways, so pick of the week is Kevin Smith's Green Arrow run. It is really damn good. Again, it starts out really slow, but then it gets going, and not in like a slow. That's how it starts out. It's just like way too much dialogue, and as it went along, as it started getting really, really good, it was proof that you didn't need that much dialogue to begin with at all. No excuse for that. That was awful. That was like, oh, I can see that Kevin Smith is getting paid per word, isn't he? Yeah. Cool. Good to know that Kevin Smith was that way back in the day. Also. And it wasn't just something that happened out of the blue. That's honestly the least of his troubles. I wouldn't say he's like that. I just say it's also would not surprise me that he would do that. And honestly, I would do the same thing. Like, but only if it was warranted. Like, if I had a Green Arrow run and I was getting paid per word, I probably would add a few extra words here and there. Like how you do that, like the meme of taking, like, I jumped over, like you take one sentence and you switch it. Like I said, jumped over. I couldn't think of anything. I can give a specific example, but you take like one sentence, it should only be one sentence, and you stretch it out to a whole paragraph. That's almost right. That's how what Kevin Smith did. I feel sometimes in that run. And that's basically what I would do too, but like maybe not a paragraph, maybe like half of that. So I can understand where you're coming from. Like, I get it. But yeah, definitely overrated at first. And even then, I don't know if I would do that. Like, I would probably start doing that and feel bad, and then go back to being like not the bare minimum, but what is like necessary for that book. Anyways, Batgirl and Robin Year 1. This is a reread, so it's not going to be my pick of the week, but if it wasn't, it would have been. The Batgirl is not as good as Robin, but it's still good. I still would say to not get just one of these, but to get the deluxe edition. If I'm not mistaken, we have a reprint of the Batgirl and Robin Year 1. I know we have a Hey, Scott Beatty do? Is that why? Did Scott Beatty do Batgirl and Chuck Dixon and Robin? I can't tell. Alright, but I'm not 100% sure. I know Robin got a reprint of the deluxe edition, sort of Batgirl, like, separately. And honestly, get those separate ones. Get the separate deluxe editions. It's worth it. But if they have, like, this thing right here reprinted, especially at its original list price of being 25 buckaroonies, worth every penny. And it's proof that you can keep doing year 1s, like year 1 storylines. You don't have to stuff with Batman. You can do Robin, you can do Batgirl, you can do Nightwing I want to check out, you can do Riddler even. But don't do Two-Face and Scarecrow, because those were the complete opposite picks of the week. If I have a pick of the week, that was a avoid of the week. I know I don't finish these within a week of me getting them, but it's still pick of the week. Saying pick of the month, Batman the Cult. Yeah, this is overwritten. There's no reason for this to be 50 pages per issue. It was good, but I would like this. I would have loved this if it had been like 25 pages. No, I would say 30 pages. I think 30 pages is because it's actually like more like 48 pages per issue. So cut 18 pages here and there. Cut a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the narration, and I really love this book. But as is, I thought it was good. But, yeah. Controversial opinion, I know, but I would still say buy the deluxe edition. Because we need to get these stories that I've heard of, but or actually Batman the Cult I hadn't heard of. This actually right here This doesn't have any library stamps, but it is not my personal collection. It was actually the guy at the library. We were talking about it. He realized I hadn't read it. He got it for Christmas. Then he lent it to me. We exchange books back and forth. Sometimes to keep, but now it's been to borrow. Like DC Marvel, that was to borrow. Archie Punisher, that was to borrow. And I'll give him 2 books of mine to borrow. What did I do last time for him to borrow? Oh, Superman, Jeff Loeb book. I forget what it was. For All Seasons. I gave him that to borrow. Surprisingly enough, he had not read it. Batman Hush. I was just talking about how it's my favorite Batman storyline of all time, and I don't know if it is anymore. I can't say what might be, but I don't know, what was it? Maybe Brian Azzarello's Batman Day. I don't know, that's a bit too far. I had to think about that. Going back to that point of me liking indies more than anything else, and me favoring indies over anything else, and being more memorable in my eyes, just in general. There you go. Going back to that argument, so to speak. That was awkwardly said, but basically how going back to what I was saying before. But yeah, Batman Hush, it's still good. I still like it, but I probably last time I gave it like a 9 out of 10. It's more like an 8.5 out of 10. I just think I was like, why did I think this was my favorite Batman story arc? And I think because I had not seen anything like this prior to reading Hush. So granted, in that regard, it is a 9 out of 10, but when you reread it and like you've seen this before, done before, after the fact, yeah, I can see why it would not hold up as well. But like very like a 0.5 at most. Like I would say this is 8.5 rather than 9 out of 10. It's still really damn good. It still is one of my favorite Batman books of all time. Story arcs of all time. Suicide Squad Bad Blood. I've read this a bunch of times. I think I've actually read this fairly recently too. Like it's a reread from like I'd say like 3 months ago I read this again. So I'm gonna keep it very brief. It is really damn good. Tom Taylor's best work, in my opinion. Perfect pacing, perfect like it's nothing. I was never bored reading that book. That's what perfect pacing is in my eyes. It's like you're never bored, you're never counting how many pages you have left, and you're surprised when the issue is over. Not because it was too rushed or anything like that, because like, oh my god, I just read 22 pages and it felt like it was 10 pages. Same thing for Green Arrow's Kevin Smith, again, as it went along. Watchmen. What more can I say other than I have 2 huge criticisms for Watchmen. First is it's overwritten. And I'm not just saying because, oh, it's 1985. No. Did we need that much of monologuing from a certain character? No. We did not. I'm not gonna spoil who it is. We did not at all. I actually watched the motion comic, and the motion comic skips certain parts of dialogue. And at first I was pissed. I was like, why skip parts of dialogue? Oh, that's why. Okay. And I basically just watched the motion comic at that point, and I skipped like they would say like okay, so it would be like they would skip here. I'll show you guys what I mean. So it would do something like it would skip like the last sentence of each of those things right here. It would skip the last sentence and maybe even skip the first sentence of the next panel. And after a certain point, because of how long that monologue is and how it hurt the pacing overall afterwards, I was like, you know what? I don't care that skipping dialogue. I'm skipping dialogue too. I skimmed it. I skimmed what was skipped. But yeah, I was kind of glad that that was the case. And then the Tales of the Black Friar. I think that should have been a separate thing. I really think it should have been a separate thing. And the back matter too. The back matter and Tales of the Friar should have been released as a bonus. Like if you bought all 12 issues at your local comic shop, they give you that as a bonus. It wasn't included in any of the 12 issues, but it was added as a bonus. Like you got the back matter and you got the Tales of the Black Friar as like a little both together as one thicker issue, and then in the deluxe edition they include that, and in the absolute edition they include that. But to include it at the end of each issue, yeah, I skipped the back matter. Everything that was not under the hood, I skipped because I was like, there's no point. I don't care. It's just already long enough. Because it's a book from 1985 and because it's 28 pages, already long enough. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Again, those might sound like huge criticisms. And I hate this book. I think it's overrated. No. Finishing this book, I was like, my God. I think I understand it. I think I understand. I completely understand why this is so groundbreaking. Why Time Magazine included it as the top 100 books of all time. My copy has was actually. They actually take it as here. Let's see here. One of Time Magazine's 100 best English language novels since 1923. It deserves to be on that list. On the list of Time Magazine's 100 best English language novels since 1923. It deserves to be on that list. And when I finished that, I was like, yep, that and Preacher. Those are like honestly, Watchmen, top 10. Number 10, but top 10. And every time I reread Watchmen, I will be reading it in a different format. After this will be the absolute, and then after that, if they have the deluxe edition, because this isn't actually the deluxe edition, it's the standard size hardcover. And then after that, if I can find it, if they have at the local library, the compact edition. And then if I feel a need to, on the Kindle. But that, I don't think about that. I don't know about that. Last God. Now, I was talking before about how the artwork can really make a story, like how that did the same for We Only Find Them When They're Dead, and that was kind of a cheat, because that's, because of that reason for not liking L. Ewing's writing, to say that we Only Find Them When They're Dead was a cheat because of that reason. Last God is similar to that, but the argument for, well, maybe it isn't just the artwork, because maybe the story good, yada yada yada, because this is just like really damn good. Again, I skipped the back matter. It was a reread. I did that my second time. I read through the back matter. I started reading through the back matter of Last God. Same with Watchmen. Again, how I did with Under the Hood. But after that, I was like, I'm done. I didn't want to do that. And honestly, it really strengthened the book for me. I don't know what's going on half the time, but it's really damn good. I like it. Check it out. Worth every penny. And we need a deluxe edition of Last God. Definitely a deluxe edition. Speaking of deluxe editions, we got Death Deluxe Edition. I love this the first time, I love the second time. I think this might be my favorite Sandman book. I know I shouldn't count it because it's a Sandman spin-off, but it's my favorite. And it also collects one of my favorite Sandman standalone issues, issue 8, in this deluxe edition. And the other one they collect of Sandman is pretty good, but I skipped the Endless Nights one and the one at the very end. Actually, I went at the very end is Endless Nights. The first one is like Vertigo Jam or something like that. And I wasn't really like tempted to read it. But everything else, like, it's worth the $30 cover price. Get it while you can. Honestly, the absolute edition is worth every penny. It's really damn good. Highly recommended. And keep in mind that's coming from someone who is the most critical of Sandman of anyone else, because of arcs like Fables and Reflections and whatever Volume 8 was, and then the last arc, I was like the final arc of the entire series. I was like, you wrap it up like, it's good, yeah, you wrapped it up pretty good for people that were invested in every single issue of Sandman. But for me, I was like, I like that you have some connections to earlier arcs. That's pretty cool, but yeah, it's good. I guess, not the worst, not the best. It's good, But Sandman in general, I would say, is groundbreaking. Still. But with an asterisk. Anyways, moving on. My favorite Sandman, so I'll talk about that briefly, is the Thessaly, Barbie, Alvin one. That one's really damn good. Like, I loved every page of that book. That was like, oh, so this is why people really love Sandman. I get it now. And Volume 1 I always really liked. But, like, talking about my favorite all-time, Volume 5. Moving on to Justice League of America, the Deluxe Edition. The final book that I'll be talking about. We're already... Oh, only 40 minutes in. Nice. I thought it would be like... I was 10 minutes off. but this one marginally improved. I was like, what? This is after I read Identity Crisis, also by Brad Meltzer, and I was like, what? This is the same guy. This is really overwritten, and this is like kind of boring, honestly, and has way too much dialogue and just kind of almost kind of bland at times, and I didn't really like it. But then I read it the second time, I was like, okay. And now this is definitely the guy who wrote Identity Crisis. I don't know what I was on, honestly, because this is really damn good. If you liked Identity Crisis, but you want something that's more upbeat and has more hope and, isn't so cynical, read this one. And keep in mind, I really love Identity Crisis. I think Identity Crisis is still better than this one overall, as far as pacing goes and everything else goes. But this is still damn good. Like, I want to see... I almost want to see more Brad Meltzer Justice League. This is really damn good. Like, solid stuff. Like, really damn good. And like, I would say, like, if you've read a bunch of Justice League and you're kind of one of those people that's like, it has to hook me, it has to give me something that, because of how much I've read of Justice League, it has to give me something new to bring to the table, and I would say this does. I've not read every single Justice League book, but I would say check this one out. If you're that harsh a critic, which I understand, I'm not saying I don't understand it at all, but I get that aspect. So that people have that roadblock when it comes to a new Justice League arc, because there's a lot of Justice League, and you just how many comics there are, you kind of want to be like, you know what, instead of investing my time and or money into Brad Meltzer's run, maybe I'll just check out this book instead. I get that part, but I get that. I get to have that because I'm not gonna check out every single Justice League book. Like, I'm not gonna go check out a random Justice League book that no one's heard about, and instead of checking out more of Mark Waid's run on Justice League, or finally getting into Grant Morrison's run, but if the library has, I will. But other than that, yeah, I can understand that. I would say I'm 50-50 about that, unless I'm in the local library. Like that Supergirl Batgirl one, I probably never checked out. That Elseworlds one, if the library did not have it, because I had no reason to. Like, what? It's just, okay. Not even written by someone I really recognize, honestly. But that, as they say, is that. I need some breakfast in me, because I am running on empty. I did this first thing in the morning. I like doing it. I like doing it first thing in the morning, but yeah, running on empty. I almost forgot. But let's do the out of 10s. Yeah, a bunch of books here. Thankfully, a lot of them are for my PC, but having to return these on Tuesday, because so I work at a school that's right down the street from the library I go to. It's convenient as hell for times like these. And yes, that is one of the, I would say, 3 things keeping me employed at that job. Like, keeping me employed, but keeping me wanting to be employed at that job. Obviously, I like working there, but like, at the library, just having the library down the street is so damn convenient, and it just, like, it makes my day sometimes, honestly. Moving on. 8 out of 10, I guess. That's manga. 8 out of 10 for Berserk, and then 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 for Alita. Again, manga is just kind of way over there for me. Captain America and Mighty Avengers, 4 out of 10. Black Panther Eve Ewing, 4.5 out of 10. Venom this is by Jeremy Holt, and that is, come on brain, 8.5 out of 10. Nah, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10 for, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for Venom. What if? Black by a writer I can't pronounce the name of. I don't mind going with writers. I don't usually do that. But Black, I would say 6 out of 10. 5.5 maybe. Kanto, 8 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. David and Boer. Deadpool Daniel Way Complete Collection Volume 1 is a 9 out of 10. This is why I don't just say, when I'm reviewing each book, I don't just say Spirit World 6 out of 10 and move on, because I've reviewed, like, Deadpool, like, I gave it the same score as I gave a lot of other books that are much better than that, but just because of how entertaining and fun that was, Giving Deadpool an 8 out of 10 seems too low, and 8.5 still seems too low. Yeah, Spirit World, 6 out of 10. Bodies, 7.5 out of 10. Still has those issues. I will say that at times I was like, oh yeah, this is why I didn't really like it the first time around. I can understand that now because I feel kind of the same way. But for the most part, I was like, this is really damn good, and I am definitely glad I reread it. And that's why I reread books, because sometimes I'll feel the exact opposite way I did the first time. And usually it's, I don't like it the first time, I really liked it the second time. And if you're Sandman, the sexier time. Green, that's why I'm still so critical about it, even though I can pinpoint like arcs I really liked and death I really liked. I really liked, not just because everything else was not my cup of tea, and this one was. So just it was my cup of tea, but it's also expertly, almost perfectly written. You know, Green Arrow, Kevin Smith, 9 out of 10. No, because of that how slow it starts out, 8 out of 10. Batgirl and Robin, Year 1, 9.5 out of 10. Really damn good stuff. The Batgirl should not and it could have been more like 6 issues, but I still think it's good. But it's only because it's not as good as Robin one. That's unfair, because Robin is like excellent. It's like really damn good. Batman and the Cult, 7 out of 10. Because how off the pacing is. Not awful, off. I don't want to say off all the times. Sometimes it's good, but most of the time it's kind of like, yeah, but the definition of overwritten. Batman Hush, 9 out of 10. No, sorry, we said 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. Suicide Squad, same score, 8.5. Watchmen, 9.5 out of 10. Last God and Death, both 9s out of 10. And last but not least, we got Justice League Brad Meltzer, 8 out of 10. Alright. Now let's see how many books I'll have to put to squeeze into my bag on the Tuesday. Actually, I'm uploading this on Tuesday. Right? Because, because Wednesday I'll be releasing the comics the next set of books I'll be reading. Spoilers, none of them are library books. It's to tie me over, but I'm adding more because of the 3-day weekend. I want to add a little bit more. Celebrate having 3 days off from work. I added a bit more than I should have probably, but we will see. We will see how it goes. Alright, so that one, that one. Okay, cool. Awesome. Wow. Alright. Take these out then. Because the library guy said, I mentioned to him, I was like, hey, I have some books for you too to borrow. And he's like, I am so far behind my reading, I don't think you should do that. And I was like, alright. That was a little while ago. I think that was before the holiday. No, it was after. Right after the holiday. That first day back to work. Is when he mentioned that. No, was it before? I can't remember. No, it was after. Because it couldn't have been before the holidays, because he gave me Batman the Cult, and I think when he mentioned it, I actually, like I said before, I don't know. Off the top of my head. Point is, it was a while ago, so I could ask him, I could totally put those in. I'll give him to him on Wednesday. I'll ask him again on Tuesday, and then give him to him on Wednesday if he says yes. That's it.